as a media leader, when you say how does media play a role in, going the last mile and developing India, as a leader of TV9, as a media industry leader, how do you, like, what is a specific thing you think media should be doing that it will develop India? How can media play a role in developing India?
See, as I said that we called the fourth estate, we have the enormous power to shape the narrative, to drive the narrative, to shape the minds of Indians. And we being the news industry, we have that additional responsibility of being true to our existence. And we need to be fair, unbiased, which is your mission says also, Litisha. But the predicaments that looms over us is that we are also supposed to be a business outfit. So that is a conflict that I often face, that, and that is a line that we have to trade very, very, very carefully. But the way I handle it, that as you would know, that we are the largest news network now in the country. We've got many leadership channels. But at no point in time I have taken my eyes off being on the right track, that being true to our existence.
A little bit into your professional, personal decisions that you've made. After you quit Z, there was a brief period of 6.5 years where you took a self-imposed sabbatical. What was running through your mind then? Because it was a huge risk, in my opinion. Like, if you ask me that, okay, stop working, and I don't know what did you do in those 6.5 years that evolved into this development of this huge network?
Okay, no, basically I took a retirement, not sabbatical. I thought that I've worked enough and I have nothing new to contribute. So I thought that I would take a break and try and be an entrepreneur. And I realized that I'm not as good in being an entrepreneur as much as as running a business. So I took it easy, and I did some consulting. I helped people build their companies. And then one fine day, some turn of events had, again, after 6.5 years, brought me back to news. And I thought that I would take a fresh guard and start afresh. So when I took up this TV9 network, it was just a small regional network, predominantly in the south. So from there, we've launched new channels, grown leaps and bounds, and that had given me that professional satisfaction, so I'm still sticking around.
What was the strategy in expanding from a regional network to a national network?
No, not regional, obviously regional is the market. The growth of Indian media is still a healthy double digit as far as television media, as far as regional markets are concerned. But, finally, the Delhi, Delhi is your national capital, and news, politics is the bread and butter content for a news network or a news channel. So unless and until you're relevant in the national arena, you possibly do not get that identity. So therefore, we thought that we have leading channels in the south, so why not we replicate our success in the rest of the part of the country. So we launched Hindi, we launched Bangla, we revived Marathi. So now we have become a pan-India network.
You've also expanded a lot in the digital media. In fact, I think in a lot of spaces you went digital first. And now AI has been coming in, etc. We're being challenged with deep fakes and misinformation. How do you think media should fight it?
I'll break your question in two parts. One is the digital media. Yes, all of us, we know that digital is our future. It is inevitable. So we had to focus on that. But I think you would know that one of the biggest challenges that news industry, especially television industry, faces is that most of us are free to air. So we don't charge for our subscription fees for delivering our channels, most of the news media, and which is an intrinsic problem of our industry, because the biggest strength of India is a large consuming middle class and the class which are aspiring to be the middle class, but we don't transact with them commercially directly. So that is one of the biggest challenges. And the other thing that I've seen that, we trade with eyeballs. Like in our network, we get 100 million fresh eyeballs every month. Not fresh, unique eyeballs every month. But you have the other startups who predominantly trade with eyeballs, and they've become very big in terms of valuation, many unicorns. So these two things had prompted me to come up with two experiments. So one is the News 9 Plus, which you would have known that it's like a Netflix of news. So as we're speaking, it'll be turned into a paid offering. So we're trying that out, that whether we can bring Indian consumers to pay for good content, so quality content. And the second is that another offering, Money 9, which is a personal finance app in several Indian languages. So we are aspiring to Money 9. We are aspiring to become play the valuation game there. And as far as AI is concerned, Litisha, that is a necessary evil. All of us will have to live with it. We can't do without it. We need to make use of it and make sure that we put it to use for good cause. And if you ask me if I have to give anybody one recommendation, authority or policymakers, I think one thing works everywhere, that you create strict rules and regulations and already announce the consequence of not abiding by the rules and try and impose those rules and regulations. That's the only way. And Western media has gone many steps ahead. I think New York Times have kept an editor for fact check. So we responsible media will have to get into that we need to check each fact. We have larger role to play. We don't drive wrong narratives. We don't pick up news from social media and or an unauthorized source and disseminate that. But so in sum and substance, you have to live with it and make good use of it.
So you spoke about News 9 Plus and making it a subscription platform. So for people who don't know, News 9 Plus is India's first news OTT platform. Now when you say you're making it a paid subscription, already the market is disinclined towards paying to watch content. So how do you intend to challenge this when the whole market is disinclined towards subscriptions and everybody is moving towards free content? You are moving towards paid content. So how do you intend to tackle this?
Okay, that's a very good question. I think, I don't know how many from the audience is from media, but in general, the price of something, whether you will pay the price or not, that depends on the value that you get out of it, right? Anything that you buy, you pay for the value that comes from there. So if you can give content which consumer will value and will be willing to pay for, which is like anything, like the jacket, like the jeans that I'm wearing, or even a bottle of water. If the consumers feel that there's value in it, so they'll pay for it. So again, as I said, that it's an experimentation. We got to try it out. Somebody has to try out. At worst, I'll fail, but there's no harm in trying.
I hope you don't. Do you also have any plans of expanding into the entertainment segment, considering you're talking about Studio 9 for your production? You started Studio 9 for production. So do you have any plans to expand into the entertainment segment?
I think you are, and your company is a great example that how integrated media can come under one roof in the sense that all genres of television, I think you have got 5 channels, all of them are the leadership channels. No, we don't have. We want to focus constantly on news, but content is something which I believe that there'll be unlimited demand going forward. So if you can create good content, be it fiction, non-fiction, documentary, there would be takers. So we're trying that out, and I personally feel that one of the ways India can help this growing brand of India across the world is that by leveraging the soft power. So if India can come up content which are global content, which are globally recognized content. That will help the cause. So I'm aspiring to do something that if at some point in time I can create a content which will go beyond, which is not really Bollywood or Indian content, but global content. So that's a very small business that we are into, but it might grow into a big one.
For your entire professional career, you've decided to be behind the camera lenses. With your new show, Duog, you've decided to come in front of the camera. May I know why is that?
No, there was no particular reason. I think people convinced me to do that, and I think I was fooled by them. I kept on telling them that that's not something I'm cut out for. But why I finally agreed to do that? Because I could speak to various people who are intellectually very strong and bounce off my own views and ideas with them. So that is Duog is all about. It is not really an interview, but as you have known, I've spoken to an eclectic mix of people like David Cameron, from David Cameron to Sadhguru to Narayan Murthy to Subhash Chandra, Arnab, my friend. So I think I'm enjoying it. So we will have the second season soon. As long as there are takers, I'll continue to do it. But I don't think that it'll last that long.
I will pick something from this question in the end. But before that, we have a lot of students in the audience. And there is one question that constantly keeps coming up. Is that our job creators, job seekers, you mentioned in your speech as well about how the focus should be on turning job seekers into job creators. If everybody is going to become a job creator, then who's going to do the job?
No. That is, I think the way the Indian young population, the size of Indian youth, and they're coming up educated, I don't think that the job creation is happening at the same pace as more and more educated people are becoming job worthy. So if people like us who are job seekers, we are professionals, right? So we have to change our mindset to become like somebody like you. So you are one of the youngest entrepreneurs, and similarly, people will have to come in and create their own value. And eventually, there'll be enough to do the job in India, because India's working workforce number is one of our strengths. But if we have this, from the state that I come, Bengal, your state, a natural tendency for youth is to study and then go and find a job. I think the mindset needs to change, that we may have to be that to go study and think of something, which is the Prime Minister's Make in India thing, which is a Startup India thing. Absolutely. So that is a very strong visionary move from him. So that has to be owned up by the youth of a country.
So coming back to the duologue question, seems like you like to challenge yourself quite a bit, because from whatever I have read and seen of your professional journey, you have constantly challenged yourself. So my last question to you would be, what's next for BD?
Okay, what's next for
Barun Das?
Barun Das is that obviously I'll have to accelerate my retirement. The quicker I retire, the better it is for me. And then post-retirement, I think I'll become a director, film or content director.
Wow.
And that's what I want to be, and that is a stress buster for me. And I also can think of becoming a coach for people like you, because I like youngsters, competent youngsters, when they have the drive and hunger and competence. I feel that I could help them, and I feel a natural flair for that. So that could be another option. But first and foremost, accelerate the retirement.
And I feel absolutely honored to be coached by you. Thank you so much. And can we have a round of applause?
Thank you.
For the wonderful Barun Das.
Yeah, it's very difficult to speak in a session after Baba Ramdev. Yeah, I mean, very, very difficult. I must tell him he's not here. It's a word of compliment. I've seen a movie called The Greatest Showman Ever Lived. So I think Baba Ramdev comes very close to that. So he's brilliant, simply. Thank you
But
very
I
much.
think
Thank you.
for us media geeks, this was the session. Thank you. Thank
Thanks
you.
a lot.